working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Eliana Sebastian and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. On today's headline,
I wish to
Malaysian ex-Premier Najib Razak says he objected in the strongest of terms how the court forced his lawyer to continue despite wanting to be discharged in the appeal hearing against his draft conviction at the country's top court as he began his final bid to overturn his jail sentence for corruption over the 1MDB financial scandal.
because of the fact that they had very little time to. Unfortunately, the court.
Hong Kong law enforcement on Thursday announced a task force to track down and help traffic residents ensnared by so-called boiler room scams in Southeast Asia that have become a growing scourge.
Give the floor to Dr. First.
The head of the World Health Organization reported that monkeypox infections continue to rise globally. And the Philippine Embassy in Manama, Kingdom of Bahrain, in coordination with the Al Hilal Medical Center, Manama, organized a healthy life checkup for Filipino nationals in Bahrain. First, in our news, Malaysian ex-Premier Najib Razak says he objected in the strongest of terms how the court forced his lawyer to continue despite wanting to be discharged in the appeal hearing against his draft conviction at the country's top court Thursday as he began his final bid to overturn his jail sentence for corruption over the 1MDB financial scandal. Lead defense lawyer Hisyam Tepo Take surprised the court Thursday by telling the panel of 5 judges that he wanted to be discharged from the case, citing inadequate time to prepare as he had been recently appointed. Let's take a look.
I wish to record my objection in the strongest of terms of this appeal proceeding today, where my rights to life, liberty, and right to a fair hearing is at stake. As you know, my counsel have indicated that they are unwilling to continue because of the fact that they had very limited time to prepare. Unfortunately, the court did not allow them to be discharged.
I can see no meaningful way that I can play as far as the proceedings are concerned, because we are, in fact, not prepared.
Najib, 69, and his ruling party were roundly defeated in 2018 elections following allegations of their involvement in the multi-billion-dollar scandal. Following a lengthy high court trial, Najib was found guilty of abuse of power, money laundering, and criminal breach of trust over the transfer of 42 million ringgit or $10.1 million from former 1MDB unit SRC International to his personal bank account. He was sentenced to 12 years in jail in July 2020, though he has not been sent to prison while the appeal process plays out. Lawyers said if the conviction is upheld, Najib will begin serving his jail sentence immediately. An acquittal, however, could propel him into contention for his former political foes, as he remains popular in Malaysia despite the scandal that plagued his administration. Hong Kong law enforcement on Thursday announced a task force to track down and help traffic residents ensnared by so-called boiler room scams in Southeast Asia that have become a growing scourge. In recent months, victims have reported being lured to countries such as Myanmar, Cambodia, Thailand, and Laos on false promises of romance or high-paying jobs, and then held against their will and forced to work, sometimes for months. Undersecretary for Security Michael Chuk said on Thursday that Hong Kong has received requests for help from 20 people, with 8 of them unaccounted for in Myanmar and the other 12 confirmed safe. Boiler room scam operations really took off in border areas and special economic zones in Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos during the pandemic. Jeremy Douglas, regional representative of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime for Southeast Asia, told AFP. And in quite a few, they're using traffic labor to work the scams. It's a nightmare for law enforcement and human rights. Human rights lawyer Patricia Hall said Hong Kong's existing laws were not enough to tackle such scams, as the city had no legislation that specifically outlawed human trafficking and forced labor. India's foreign minister on Thursday defended his country's ties with the Myanmar junta, despite growing international concerns about recent executions and the legitimacy of elections planned for the next year. Indian Minister of External Affairs Subramaniam Jaishankar said New Delhi's position on Myanmar has been consistent over decades and goes back to the country's struggle for freedom against colonialism. Our relationship is not something which should be judged by the politics of the day, Jaishankar told an audience at Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok. As a direct neighbor, India could not avoid dealing with the military junta regime because of border issues such as organized crime, coronavirus, and Indian insurgents in Myanmar, he said. He said, we also have to manage our border relationship and the complexities of being a neighbor. Jaishankar said, as an immediate neighbor, India had an empathy and an understanding that was different from other countries far away that were pontificating about Myanmar's democracy. The Philippine Airlines said on Thursday a 2-hour system outage was experienced earlier at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 2, delaying 7 international and domestic flights. PAL spokesperson Stella Villaluna said the temporary system outage around 2:43 a.m. to 4:45 a.m. caused the delay of the following PAL flights. Hong Kong was delayed by 27 minutes, Saigon by 16 minutes, Singapore by 29 minutes, Taipei by 1 hour and 7 minutes, Puerto Princesa by 41 minutes, Zamboanga by 47 minutes, and Cotabato by 1 hour and 19 minutes. The check-in system was fully restored and normal passenger check-in procedures resumed at 4:45 a.m. The Manila International Airport authorities said there was no internet connection problem at Terminal 2 early Thursday. Monetary authorities hiked Thursday the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP key rates by 50 basis points as they cited the need to continue implementing measures to address the elevated inflation rate. Let's take a look.
At its meeting on monetary policy today, the Monetary Board decided to raise the interest rate on BSP's overnight reverse repurchase facility by 50 basis points to 3.75%. BSP's latest baseline forecasts have shifted higher for 2022, with average inflation projected to reach the upper end of the 2 to 4% target range at 5.4%, while the forecast for 2023 and 2024 have declined to 4% and 3.2%, respectively. That inflation target remains at risk over the policy horizon owing to broadening price pressures, elevated inflation expectations, likewise highlight the risk of further second-round effects. Upside risks also continue to dominate the inflation outlook up to 2023 due to the potential impact of higher global non-oil prices and the continued shortage in domestic fish supply, the sharp increase in the price of sugar, as well as pending petitions for transport fare increases. Meanwhile, the impact of a weaker than expected global economic recovery, as well as the resurgence of local COVID-19 infections, continue to be the main downside risks to the outlook. At the same time, despite some moderation in economic activity in recent months, overall domestic demand conditions have generally held firm, supported by improved employment outturns and by ample liquidity and credit. For these reasons, the Monetary Board deemed further monetary action to be necessary to anchor inflation expectations and avoid a further breach in the inflation target over the policy horizon.
The latest rate hike brought to 175 basis points, the increase in the central bank's key policy rates so far this year. This as inflation further accelerated last July to 6.4% year-on-year, the fastest since October 2018. Medalla said inflation is forecast to peak either in October or November this year. Medalla said any adjustments in the BSP's key rates will have an impact on domestic output, but with the central bank's price stability mandate, monetary authorities will favor price stability over the expansion of the domestic economy. The Philippine government will need to see a 1.5% reduction in poverty incidence per year to reach its goal of bringing down the rate to 9% by 2028. The National Economic and Development Authority believes a 9% poverty incidence goal by 2028 from last year's 18.1% is easily doable. Let's take a look.
So as reported noong Monday, Monday, 18.1% po ng ating mga kababayan ang mahihirap. And ang target po, and this was in 2021, ang target po ay maipababa ito to 9% by 2028. So ibig sabihin po, we will have 7 years na maiahon roughly mga 8 to 9 million po ito ng mga kababayan natin maiahon sa kahirapan. Noong pong 2015 hanggang 2018, so that's 3 years, 6 million po ng mga kababayan natin nang naitawid from poverty, and we want to be able to do the same, pero ang kailangan nating unahin kaagad is makapagsimula na rin talaga ng high growth ang ating ekonomiya. So una sa lahat kailangan i-fully reopen na natin ang ating economy. So nandiyan na rin talaga yung programa natin sa bakuna, sa boosters. Etong 2022,
Opo.
nakabalik na po tayo sa ating pre-COVID levels eh. So ang kailangan na lang is mas paigtingin pa natin yung growth natin. So we expect that in 2023 by midterm po inaasahan din namin na makapagpakita na tayo ng malaking reduction in poverty incidence sa kalagitnaan ng panunungkulan po ni Presidente.
The Office of the Press Secretary, or OPS, is currently crafting a more comprehensive feedback mechanism to enable President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s administration to be more responsive to the needs of the people. Take a look.
Hindi lang po kami nagdi-disseminate ng impormasyon. Bahagi po ng aming mandato ay makinig. Kailangan po namin ng feedback, kaya mahalaga sa amin yung social media namin dahil nakikita namin dito kung ano yung mga larangan kung saan namin kailangan punuin ng impormasyon na kinakailangan ng ating mga taong bayan. At We want to be more responsive, not just in OPS, but as a government, the entire government to be more responsive. So ito yung nakikita nating mga feedback, hindi lang nga po social media, although madalang po sa radyo, pero nakakatanggap po na naggaling po kasi rin ako sa radyo eh.
During her virtual attendance at the Senate Committee on Public Information and Mass Media hearing on Monday, Cruz Angeles said part of the OPS's mandate is to also hear the Filipino sentiments, not just to disseminate information on policies, programs, and achievements of the Marcos administration. An improved feedback mechanism would allow the entire government to attend to the needs of the Filipino people. The head of the World Health Organization, or WHO, reported that monkeypox infections continue to rise globally. The WHO also said vaccines may also play an important part in controlling the outbreak, but noted that for the moment, supplies of vaccines and data about their effectiveness are limited. Take a look.
Give the floor to Dr. Tyler. First, an update on the global monkeypox outbreak. More than 35,000 cases of monkeypox have now been reported to WHO from 92 countries and territories, with 12 deaths. Almost 7,500 cases were reported last week, a 20% increase over the previous week, which was also 20% more than the week before. Almost all cases are being reported from Europe and the Americas, and almost all cases continue to be reported among men who have sex with men. The primary focus for all countries must be to ensure they are ready for monkeypox and to stop transmission using effective public health tools, including enhanced disease surveillance, careful contact tracing, tailored risk communication, and community engagement, and risk reduction measures. Vaccines may also play an important part in controlling the outbreak, and in many countries, there is high demand for vaccines from the affected communities. However, for the moment, supplies of vaccines and data about their effectiveness are limited, although we are starting to receive data from some countries.
So we are not expecting 100% efficacy for these vaccines for the prevention of monkeypox. We don't know the exact information. What we're seeing are breakthrough cases, which are not really surprises, but it reminds us that vaccine is not a silver bullet, that every person who feels that they are at risk and appreciates their own level of risk and wishes to lower their own level of risk have many interventions at their disposal, which includes vaccination where available, but also includes protection from activities where they may be at risk, reducing number of sex partners, avoiding group sex or casual sex, and specifically when a vaccine is in fact administered, waiting until that vaccine has the time to produce a maximum immune response. In the case of MVA vaccine, this is 2 weeks after the second dose.
Dr. Ryan, go ahead.
The World Health Organization called Wednesday for people infected with monkeypox to avoid exposing animals to the virus following a first reported case of human-to-dog transmission. A first case of human-to-dog transmission of monkeypox between two men and their Italian greyhound living together in Paris was reported last week in the medical journal The Lancet. Let's take a look.
Clearly, in this particular case, with the transmission to a dog in a closed domestic setting, with having one animal infected is not unusual. It's not unexpected that would happen. What we don't want to see happen is disease moving from one species to the next and then remaining in that species as a species, moving around within a new species, because that's when a virus can adapt to that new species. And in adapting to that new species, it is incentivized to to evolve as such.
We never had those kind of reports, so it's the first time. It means that a dog can be infected, but it doesn't mean that a dog can transmit the disease and infect other dogs, nor does it mean that the dog can reinfect human if it is infected. So
I don't expect the virus to evolve any more quickly in one single dog than in one single human. So in that sense, in this particular situation, this particular animal is the member of a human family and is just an animal unfortunately exposed to the virus. And in that sense, we want to make sure that anybody around a person, a case, that you don't infect people in the household with you, you don't infect animals in the household with you, if that can be avoided. We need to remain vigilant, we need to remain cautious, but at the same time, animals and pets do not represent a risk to people right now.
Sorry? Was it through animals that you met, or do you just both have a love for animals?
I want to do what's best for them at the end of the day, and I can't let them suffer. It's kind. It's kind.
Sorry?
On COVID-19, the Director General said over the past 4 weeks, reported deaths globally have increased. Let's watch this.
Finally, on COVID-19, over the past 4 weeks, reported deaths globally have increased by 35%. Just in the past week, 15,000 people around the world lost their lives to COVID-19. 15,000 deaths a week is completely unacceptable when we have all the tools to prevent infections and save lives. We're all tired of this virus and tired of the pandemic, but the virus is not tired of us. With colder weather approaching in the Northern Hemisphere and people spending more time indoors, the risks for more intense transmission and hospitalization will only increase in the coming months, not only for COVID-19, but for other diseases, including influenza. But none of us is helpless. Please get vaccinated if you're not, and if you need a booster, get one. Wear a mask when you can't distance, and try to avoid crowds, especially indoors. There is a lot of talk about learning to live with this virus, but we cannot live with 15,000 deaths a week. We cannot live with mounting hospitalizations and deaths. We cannot live with inequitable access to vaccines and other tools. Learning to live with COVID-19 does not mean we pretend it's not there. It means we use the tools we have to protect ourselves and protect others.
Apple is warning of a flaw that is allowing hackers to seize control of iPhones, iPads, and Mac computers, and is urging users to install emergency software updates. Patches were released Thursday and Wednesday by the tech titan to fix what it described as the vulnerability hackers already knew about and may be taking advantage of. Apple did not disclose whether it had information regarding the extent to which the issue has been exploited. The technical description indicated that a hacker could use the flaw to take control of devices, accessing any of its data or capabilities. Patches were released for iPhones, iPads, and Mac computers running on operating systems with the vulnerability. The Philippine Embassy in Manama, Kingdom of Bahrain, in coordination with the Al Hilal Medical Center Manama, organized a healthy life checkup for Filipino nationals in Bahrain on August 5, 2022. A total of 500 Filipino patients availed of the free health checkup at the Al Hilal Medical Center Manama as early as 6 a.m. Laurelyn Kalimlim reports from Bahrain.
In the midst of pandemic, prevention to any illnesses is a must. So why not grab the opportunity for the free life checkup made possible by Philippine Embassy in coordination with Al Hilal Medical Center here in Adlia branch, where we are right now. The Philippine Embassy in Manama, in coordination with Al Hilal Medical Center Adlia branch, invites Filipino community ages 18 and above to a free Healthy Life checkup. There are approximately 800 OFWs registered for the said medical assignment. The package includes several kinds of tests, including liver and kidney screening.
Sa ngayong araw, meron tayong isang Healthy Life Check-up campaign. This is being organized by the Philippine Embassy in the Kingdom of Bahrain in cooperation with the Al Hilal Medical Center. So first of all, let me extend my thanks to the Al Hilal Medical Center for offering this free service to the members of the Filipino community in partnership with the Embassy. I think yung last na naganap na medical mission ng Embahada ay noong bagong pandemic. So ito ay natigil for about 2 years since the pandemic started. So ngayong medyo there's easing of restrictions already, baka makakaganap na tayo uli. Pero ito ay ang pinakaunang initiative ng Embahada na talagang may in-person yung service. So out of these results, tatawagan or kukontakin ng hospital yung ating mga nag-avail ng programang ito. So gaganapin yung check-up at a discounted rate na offered din ng hospital.
Really speaking, this has been done from the beginning itself. Actually, when we have started, it's a part of our social activity. Actually, we are doing this medical camps. Right now the people after COVID and all everything, like going to a hospital and doing some blood investigation, more financial part is involved in this one. So from our directors and management, actually, they're really doing a great job actually, because for the right people, the deserving people actually, due to the financial situation and investigations worth rupees 30 billion more has been offered for them for absolutely free. It's include liver function, kidney tests and all such basic investigations are there actually to know that if any problem is there, it can be identified, and we are offering them a free consultation also. Embassy have took a great initiative actually to identify the right deserving people. Nearly 800 people have registered for this campaign. This will continue. This is more than 600 camps we have organized so far.
As a part of our social commitment to the society, we Al Hilal group used to do these type of activities. Every week, every branch will be doing these type of activities. At present, we have 5 branches, and we are coming out with the 4 more branches. We are the largest health provider in Bahrain. So, as a part of our social commitment to the experts, many of them are affordable for the treatment costs and other things. That is blood test procedures, absolutely free to the society, not only to the Philippine community, to all the community we used to do it. That's why Al Hilal is flourishing day by day. Okay?
Malaking tulong po ito sa ating mga kababayan dahil alam po natin kung anong naging epekto ng pandemya sa ating mga OFWs dito sa Bahrain. Marami po ang nawala ng trabaho, marami rin po yung bumaba ang sahod kasi alam naman po natin karamihan sa ating mga kababayan iniisip muna ang kapakanan ng kanilang pamilya sa ibang bansa. Lahat ng kinikita nila ay pinapadala nila sa kanilang mga pamilya. So ito po, hindi na nila kukunin pa sa kanilang mga sahod ang gagastusin sa pagpapakuha ng dugo, pagpapacheck up dito sa Al Hilal. At syempre po, magagamit na nila para sa kanilang pamilya yung halaga na gagastusin dito. So maraming salamat po sa Al Hilal.
That packages are offered to Filipinos for free by Al Hilal as part of their corporate social program responsibilities to expatriates residing in the kingdom.
Kinuhanan po kami ng dugo, which is kasali na dun yun sa liver, sa creatinine, sa blood sugar. Tapos yung result, waiting pa po. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating Embahada na malaking tulong po talaga ito sa aming mga OFW na nagtatrabaho dito na yung mga sahod ay kulang pa padala sa pamilya. So, malaking talagang tulong ito sa amin.
Maraming salamat sa Philippine Embassy sa programang ito. Kasi it's a big help po talaga sa aming mga OFW. Lalo na sobrang mahal po magpa-check po dito sa Bahrain. lalo libre po ito. Maraming salamat at salamat po sa free food.
Napakaganda po ng ginawa ng embahada natin ngayong araw na to. In-announce po nila yan nung nakaraang buwan. Kaya ang dami po ngayon tao dito sa hospital ng Al Hilal. Kaya ang laking tulong po nito sa mga Pilipino dito sa Bahrain.
Taking care of yourself is essential. Being far from your loved ones, you need to ensure that you are healthy all the time because you don't want your family members to worry about you while abroad. Always follow the doctor's prescription and advice, and of course, have a healthy and balanced diet and lifestyle. This is Lauren Kalimlim, your Eagle News correspondent from Manama, Bahrain, and we live in extraordinary times.
The Secretary-General of ASEAN, Dato Lim Jock Hoi, and the Ambassador of the European Union to ASEAN, Igor Drismans, officially launched the Bike 45 Ride cycling event on August 13 in Jakarta as ASEAN and EU celebrate 45 years of strategic partnership. Representatives of ASEAN, EU delegations, and EU member states marked the occasion with a symbolic ride from the ASEAN Secretariat to the premises of the EU delegation in Jakarta. In his opening remarks, Igor Drismans, EU ambassador to ASEAN, said green growth and the environment are key strategic sectors of our partnership with ASEAN. Let's take a look.
We wanted to highlight with this bike ride two things. First of all, that we are 45 years, I almost said married, 45 years of dialogue partners. And the second thing that we wanted to highlight is that, of course, the one thing to emphasize here is the sustainable green partnership that too we've been building over the years. We partner on the protection of peatlands, we partner on the protection of biodiversity, center in the Philippines. Since recently we have a very exciting project on smart green cities, which you will learn all about.
Cycling, taking public transport and other eco-friendly alternatives are small but concrete steps that each of us can take to reduce air pollution. Climate action is one of the Philippines' priorities as country coordinator for the ASEAN-EU dialogue relations. Climate action and environmental sustainability are also central to ASEAN's priorities, as these are in line with ASEAN's commitments on the implementation of the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Blueprint 2025 and the Declaration on ASEAN Post-2015 Environmental Sustainability and Climate Change Agenda. ASEAN's commitment to environmental sustainability and climate action also finds itself in several ASEAN statements and action plans, including our recently adopted Plan of Action to implement the ASEAN-EU strategic partnership. Our POA includes action lines on addressing regional and global environmental challenges and promoting sustainable development, including through support for capacity building and tackling growing challenges associated with climate change, extreme weather events, and biodiversity loss and pollution.
We are tasked to address one of the most difficult challenges. It's to battle the climate crisis. And this is one of the purposes of the Smart and Green ASEAN Cities, is to help to assist Southeast Asian cities by working together with the European cities to enhance the planning and governance capacity in order to enable cities in Southeast Asia to promote green agendas. Like one of the examples is to promote a greener mobility. And I think symbolically, the activity that we did in the morning, cycling, is one of the best ways to represent the green agendas.
Prior to flagging off the start of the Bike 45 ride, ASEAN Secretary-General Dato Lim Jock Hoi, in his opening remarks, noted that the activity not only serves as a credible platform to create public awareness of the work of ASEAN-EU, but also a vital form of effort to encourage more people towards the shift for more sustainable transportation. The Bike 45 Ride event is a virtual cycling competition organized from August 13 to September 11, 2022 for all ASEAN and EU citizens residing in the 10 ASEAN member states. Participants can take part as an individual or in a group of up to 5 participants to complete a total of distance of 45 kilometers within the race period. And that's the latest news in the ASEAN region. Thank you for joining us today here in ASEAN in Focus. This is Taliana Sebastian from your Vietnam Bureau, and we live in extraordinary times.